You may have heard a lot about these carjackings throughout the Louisville area. It is a growing issue and concern, and it's a deadly issue. The latest LMPD data shows that there were 223 cases from January 1 through November the 16th of last year, right? And can you imagine now what things are like? And it's happening all over town. That is putting families on edge and driving some to take matters into their own hands. Good morning, Kentuckianas. Hayley Minogue is gearing up to premiere a 30-minute special on this really important topic. Let's talk more about that. Come on in, Hayley. Where are you?
Hey, Claudia.
You're like, when do I come in?
I know, like, wait, I have to walk on TV? I'm not used to the walking part of it. Like,
right?
Get my pillow
I told you that
situated.
I would call on you.
Yeah.
But you know, it is something that I feel like we've heard so much about, and we see it in social media, and it creates, I think, for a lot of families, just fear that, oh my goodness, that could happen to me. Like it really could.
Absolutely, and it's really scary because it's not happening. It's not a specific area of town. It's not a specific time of day. It's not a specific type of car. These criminals are not just looking for, you know, really nice cars. They're not trying to sell these cars. I mean, some of them are, some of them aren't.
What are they doing?
Well, the cars really are being used for secondary crimes. So the primary crime is the carjacking. And then police and FBI agents are telling us that those perpetrators are using the cars to get to their next crime, whether that be a homicide or a burglary or a robbery or a drive-by shooting. There's all these different types of things that those criminals are doing with the cars so that they're not as easily traced to those criminals.
Total strategy.
Yes, total strategy.
You know, and it's what scares me too. It's happening everywhere, right? Like there is no defined area. Nobody is immune. No part of town. It's everywhere.
And it's really difficult because sometimes the suspects in these cases are kids. So you might think that it's just a kid that's walking up to your car window and all of a sudden they're tapping on the glass with a gun. So it can be really scary for a lot of people. And that's why there is a man who has a self-defense. He has really a facility that he teaches all kinds of different self-defense classes, and he has a specific carjacking seminar. So I got to sit down with him. That's it right there.
Is that it right there?
Yes,
Rough
it's
hands?
called Rough Hands. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he had those. You could see the little fake guns that he had, and he walked me through. You know, there are situations where, for the most part, if someone comes to your car and says, give me your car, you hand it over because it's not worth your life. But as a mom, you know, and I'm a mom, I can't imagine trying to reason with someone who's going to do something so unreasonable to, you know, let me get my kid out of my car seat.
They're not going to hear
they're
that.
Not going to, maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Right.
But that is a hard line for me. I'm not letting someone drive off with my car with my child in it. So if it comes to the point where you want to fight, he walked me through exactly what to do. You know, if someone is sticking a gun in your face, how to redirect and how to reclaim that gun. So he walked me through this whole process of if someone, you know, if you're sitting in your car and the hand comes this way or the hand comes this way, or what are you going to do? Putting people in those really stressful situations so that if an actual stressful situation happens, you're used to that level of adrenaline and you know how to react.
And clearly he must be hearing from enough people, or he's concerned himself that there is a need for this kind of a class.
He actually texted me yesterday and he said there's only 2 spots left in this class.
What?
2 spots left. And he's done it a couple of times. He hasn't done it since the pandemic. So it's been really hard for him to watch those carjacking numbers really start spiking up in about May of 2020 is when we were really seeing a noticeable spike. So once they started to spike up in May, and then they continued on until here we are now, 2 years later, it's been really difficult for him.
Let's go back to you said mostly juveniles that are perpetrating these crimes. You know, what are authorities doing to kind of, you can round them up, you know, how do you charge them? What is the deterrent to not do this?
So it's been really difficult for the longest time, especially when we didn't have a ton of carjackings in Louisville. The punishment, especially for juveniles, sometimes would be, I'm going to call your mom and your dad, and they're going to come get you. And they were joyriding, right? So they're doing carjackings to joyride. They just need a ride, or they want to do this, they want to do that. But now, because police are seeing these incidents sparking secondary crimes, they're starting to really get serious about the charges. And in September of 2020, the FBI, Homeland Security, ATF, they got involved in the process as well. So now we've got a federal conglomerate that is pursuing charges not only against adults, but also sometimes, depending on the severity of the crime, against juveniles. And they're hoping that when juveniles start seeing some of those punishments and they realize how serious this is, especially on a federal level, because federal, like I said, it's a completely different ballgame. There is no parole and there is no probation. If you get sentenced to 25 years, you're serving 25 years.
Right. It's not like a juvenile record. Well,
exactly.
Don't worry, that's going to go away when you're 18.
No, it is not. You are going to serve 25 years, and you are going to serve a life sentence, or there is death sentence on the table for carjackings that result in a death. So police and FBI, all of those law enforcement conglomerates are really hopeful that that's going to be the deterrent. And so far this year, we are seeing numbers that reflect that the numbers are going down through the first part of the year. So fingers crossed. I mean, obviously, any one carjacking is one carjacking too many. It is so traumatic for whoever's car is stolen if they get to live to talk about their car.
A friend of mine had that happen to her daughter, who is 17, right? And that was traumatic and carried with her. And I feel like it's such an important community issue. Thank you for taking a closer look at it, because I feel like it's summer, and you wonder, is this going to happen more? The weather's nicer. It's just really important for people to be aware and have the options of, this is what I can do.
Well, yeah, and we saw the numbers. It was more than 200 people last year that had this happen to them. Some of those carjackings resulted in homicide. They resulted in death. And it's hard to have something like this happening in your community and say, is there anything I can even do about it?
Right. We have so many important things facing our community. So we want to tell everybody this half-hour special on carjackings in Louisville airs next Thursday.
Next Thursday,
June the 2nd at 5:30 p.m. It's going to be important TV to watch, right? Important information for our community and important information about what you can do to keep yourself certainly safe. That's all happening right here on WHAS 11. Hayley, thank you.
Thanks, Claudia.